How are you treated by the people who really don't need you? I want you all to pay attention to that. How do people who really don't need you, they don't need anything from you, they don't need assistance from you, they don't need you to be their support system, they don't need you to help them with anything, do these types of people still respect you? The reason why I'm making this video message is pretty much to tell those of you who are not locked into God that this is the time for you to get locked into God, and this is the time for you to really depend on God pretty much for everything. And that can be difficult, and let me explain why this can be difficult for some people. It can be difficult because we don't, and it's simple, it's not deep or profound. It can be difficult sometimes because we don't physically see God. It's easier to call up somebody who is familiar to you to ask for your help, or for you to ask them for their help. It's easy to get people like your friends, certain family members, people who know you, that when you call them right now, they're going to answer their phone, or they're going to respond to your text, or you just know you can get to a physical human being. And we make the mistake sometimes of getting comfortable with that. And sometimes we will put somebody in place. Sometimes it's not intentional, it is very unintentional, but we will put people in a place that God should be in. And this is why you have to lock into God. This is why you have to learn the word of God, and you have to know what his word says about looking to the hills from which cometh your help. God wants us to depend on him. When we lack faith, when we don't depend on God, and when we make somebody else our personal idol, or when we make them our foundation, meaning when things crumble in our life, we are going to these other people to help us, whether it's financially, whether they're a support system. Maybe we're going through a hard time and emotionally they do something for us. Or maybe you're the type of person, you're trying to create something or get a business off the ground. I always use that as an example. So you look to people to be kind of like a crutch. You look for them. This is not everybody, but you look for people to be your support system, instead of you literally just going to God, waiting for God to provide you with everything that you need. Now, in some cases, God will touch the heart of people. He will have people that come to you and they assist to you. They lend to you, they help you, they are a support system. And sometimes support is not always monetary. Support can just be somebody telling you uplifting words. You were broken in your spirit, you were broken in your heart, and that person has said some things to you to help you bring your confidence back. That person has said some things to you to uplift you again, where you were hanging your head down, but now your head is up. Or that person was used to let you know that God really is your source. There are different ways that things like this happen, but you all need to know that, hey, if you're not locked into God, and if you are not making God your focus as far as him being your help and your constant help, I gotta say constant, because with people who don't need you, and with people who are flaky and they go up and down, one minute they want to help you, one minute they're uplifting you, one minute they say that they're glad to be there for you, but then on the other hand, they get angry when they have to help you. They start to look down on you and feel like you're inferior. They will feel like, well, you can't even help yourself, so I don't want anything to do with you. You gotta know that there are some people, the real them comes out when they say that they don't need you. And this is why God always, it says also in his word, when you put your trust in man, I'm paraphrasing, he will fail you every time. I have talked to you guys about this a while back. You will be so disappointed in the fact that there are some people that you thought you can trust, you thought you can depend on them, you thought that they were going to be there for you emotionally. Maybe they were lending you a hand for a short amount of time financially, and in your hardships, they were there for you. But when you bump heads with somebody, or when there's tension there, you will begin to see that some people who don't need you, how they really feel about you. And this is not justification for it. It's not justification because, see, what you got to realize also is that you don't know where your footsteps are always going to take you in life. You don't know whose path you're going to cross. And sometimes people get so high and mighty, they get so cocky and so arrogant because they make, a lot of money, or they're at a certain level, and they really will believe that they will never again in life need anybody. They believe that they know and understand their future. They believe that, hey, I'm never gonna fall off again. I'm never gonna need money again. I'm never gonna need a place to stay. I'm never gonna need somebody to give me a ride. I'm set. But when you have that mindset sometimes to where you never will need anybody, God has a way of showing you that your arrogance and you being very high and mighty and dependent on material possessions or where you are in life, he has a way of showing you that actually the people you kicked when they were down and the people that you said they can't do anything for you, so you don't need them, he have a way of showing you that those are sometimes the very ones that you need. So on today, I want you all to understand, you got to know God for yourself. You have to be dependent upon God for yourself. You got to be patient enough to wait for God. This is why everything that you need, you got to put it at his feet. You have to put it at the Lord's feet. If he chooses to touch the heart of somebody to come and help you in whatever way, it looks different for every one of you. I've given you guys the example. If he touches their heart, you will know when it's truly from God, because whether you get along with those people or that person or not, whether you all fall out or not, that person will never try to make you feel like you're less than them. They will never mistreat you because of the fact they know that they don't need you. This is no different from people that you see who disrespect someone who they feel has a low-level job. You ever went somewhere and you saw people laughing at a security guard at the bank or at a high school or at a grammar school? They'll walk in and that security guard, because there are different types of security guards. There are some who are what you call armed security, where they actually have a gun. And I'm sorry, YouTube, I don't think I could say that word. But then there are some security guards where they don't have a weapon. They only have a nightstick, or they only have a flashlight, or they only have a walkie-talkie. And there are people that will look down on them because they feel like that's a low-level job. You are a joke to me. You can't do anything for me. You ever seen somebody that's a cook or a dishwasher at a restaurant or in a school? They the lunch lady. They're the lunch guy. They only wash the dishes, and people will make jokes about them. They will laugh at them. I've seen kids do it, and I've seen full-grown men and women do it. If people are talking about careers and occupations, they will look at somebody that washed dishes at a school, in a cafeteria, or at a restaurant and say, they not making nothing. Whole time, they don't even know what the person makes. But they'll just immediately make the assumption that they know exactly how much that person makes. And they will down talk them. And so if something comes up to where, okay, you might tell somebody, well, so-and-so knows some people and they have connections to a person that can help you out with the dilemma you're in. Just using this as an example. Cocky people who feel like they don't need anybody, they may say, who is she? She cooks lunch in a high school. She can't do nothing for me. Who is he? He don't even have a car. He live with his family members. He don't have any money. He can't help me with nothing. You'll see people who may not drive as fancy as you. They may not dress as nice as you. They may not have the influence that you have. And so you will really feel like if something comes up in your life and you need some type of help, you won't consider somebody that is at a lower level in your mind, because you will feel like, That person can't do anything for me. They are non-important. They have nothing. If this is you, or you know somebody that is like that, this is a very bad place to be. But for those of you who have submitted yourself to the people that you feel like, I could depend on this person, I know this person is going to have my back, they have the money if I need it, they have the place to stay if I need to crash there, they have the influence, they have the connection. I'm still telling you, even with that level of comfort and confidence, you better yourself be locked into God. Because we are living in a time now, I'm telling you all, we are living in a time now where people who don't need you, they will dog you out quicker than somebody who is more humble and somebody who actually knows God. People who don't know God, you know who they depend on? They depend on themselves. They depend on their money. They depend on what they can do in their strength. Never understanding that life goes up and down. Life can be a roller coaster ride. And so if they feel like somebody can't do anything for them because they're strictly looking at where somebody is in life, you will see them get exposed. I'm telling you all this, and I'm sure a lot of you all, this message will resonate with you. You've got to know God for yourself, because when people flip on you, when people switch up on you, when people down talk you because they feel like you don't have what they have or you're not doing what they're doing, when you know God for yourself, even if they close up their fists and they're not helping you and they no longer want to be a support system at whatever level they've been, you better understand, well, it's okay, it's all good. I have God. And God is the one who provides for me. God gives me my daily bread. I don't have to keep being dependent upon my mother. I don't have to keep being dependent upon my father. I don't have to keep being dependent upon certain friends. I don't have to wait for this cousin to help me. I don't have to wait for this aunt to help me. These different people that I know, if they act funny with me, I know that God is always going to be on my side. And you all better understand this, because the world is a very ugly, disgusting, wicked place. It really is. People are out for themselves. There are so many people, they forget. I say it all the time. They forget where they come from. They forget where they come from. Somebody will struggle for so long and they know what it looks like. They know how it feels. But the minute they get brought out of it, they won't even give God the credit for bringing them out. They'll feel like, oh, I put the work in. I made the phone calls. I did this. I took the test and I passed it to get that particular job. Oh, my homie gave me this. My girl gave me that. They will take all the credit and give it to themselves. They will give themselves praise. That's the world that we live in. People don't really want to honor God now. People don't want to give God the praise. People don't want to give God the credit. And so who do you think you are, that somebody who does not need you, meaning you don't have the money to give them. You don't have the place to stay. You don't really have anything that can make their life better. You'll start to see who they really are and how they feel about you. Because sometimes they'll just outright tell you that they don't need you. But outside of that, if they don't verbalize it, you start to see it in certain situations. You start to see it manifest. You start to see it come out. So if you're currently in this situation where you're dealing with a person or you're dealing with different people and they don't need you, but they're mistreating you, I'm telling you, that's number one, God exposing them to you. But number two, baby, you better make sure you know God for yourself. You better make sure you are solely dependent upon God. And what God sees fit to bless you with, you better wait on God. Lock in to God. That's all I can keep telling you all. Lock in to God now. Every day you make your petition known to the Lord. You go to God. You tell Jesus Christ, God, I need this. I need that. He already knows what you need. He knows what you need. He already knows the situation you're in. But God tells us to pray without ceasing. We are constantly supposed to be praying. The Bible talks about us making a petition unto God. We may want a situation in our life set up a certain type of way. We may want a particular thing. And so if you are submitted to God and you want his will, then you need to go to God and you need to be specific with God. But don't ever make a human being your idol and your God, because some people out here, guys, I've experienced it, and I know a lot of you all have too. I've seen people experience it, or I know people that are going through it now, currently. When somebody does not need you, baby, the way that they get exposed, the level of arrogance, the level of cockiness that you see, it is so disgusting. It is so disgusting. It is very rare nowadays in 2024 to see a real humble man or woman. It's very, very rare that you see that. And that's also why I want to tell you all, always make sure you remain humble. I'm going to put out another message about that as well, because the body of Christ needs to hear it. But again, people who don't need you, you'll know how they feel about you based off how they treat you. When they know that you can't do anything for them, if they don't respect you, that's how they feel about you. If they don't want to help you because they feel like you're less than them or you're inferior to them, that is who they are. You are seeing who they are. Don't be confused about it. All you need to do, you pray for them and you act accordingly, because God will handle everybody. Anybody out here that feels like you're inferior, anybody that tells you or they have an air about themselves, like, oh, this person is trash, him or her, I don't need them, they can't do nothing for me, and they laugh at you and they mock you and they take you as a joke and they want to minimize you, you better understand that God will deal with them in his timing. But you make sure your slate is clean and your heart is clean, and you simply pray for them. But you better know God for yourself. You don't want the rug pulled from up under you, and then you don't have the source. And our true source as sons and daughters of Christ is Jesus Christ. That is our true source, who is constant. God is always giving even when we don't deserve it. He's not going to get mad and take something back that he gave us or that he blessed us with. But human beings will do it. That's the video message. Well, guys, it's time for me to go because I have some other things to do. The Lord willing, I will be back with another video message. If any one of you have taken offense to anything I spoke about in this video message, it's okay. It's all right. I'm not worried about it. I am not concerned, because I know you will forgive me in the morning.